All right, this is going to be some help for installing the aftermarket, well, not really aftermarket, it's Dometic, but it's a Dometic auxiliary drain line kit this is for a Penguin 2. This kit also works for the Brisk, the Penguin, and what they call the high performance unit. I don't know what that is. It is Dometic, part number there. I'll put it in the comment or in the description down below. But this is so that you can use your internal drain line on your Airstream or whatever trailer. I guess there's other trailers out there that matter, but I don't think so. Anyway, this shows you, and again, I don't know that this is specifically for the Penguin 2. This shows a Penguin unit, which looks relatively similar. Not exactly the same. The main thing that I see different is that these screws, you can see them up here, that hold the AC unit down to the pan, are kind of in the way of where you want to mount this thing. And the instructions show you to make it 6.5 inches back from this leading edge here. So, and the reason they want it back that far, and they want the leading edge of this nipple to be 6.5, so about there, you know, of course, out here where it's supposed to be. The reason they do that is the tube on the Airstream is about 5 inches back, so the tube sticks out about here. So in order for that 90 that's going to connect these two scuppers, or whatever you call them, together, it has to come out and make that curve to the tube. So we want this thing actually as far back as we can get it before we run into, on the Penguin 2, there's a divider, a foam divider. And here is the bottom of the air distribution box. So it's going to mount like so. I've got this all out so you can see it. I'm lining up this hole with the hold down bolt hole here, and you can tell and see the rivets. This is what holds the divider in place. It's a foam divider that separates the return air from the cold air supply to the trailer. And you can see that's as far back as 8 inches. So you might want to go a little bit farther than 6.5. And the reason I say that, one, it's going to give you more room to make that bend in this line, so it'll be a little more graceful of a bend. And these screw holes, they're in the way. So I'm going to show you what it looks like mounted. As long as it's back, as long as it catches that, you're okay. So I'll show you what it's like when we're mounted up. All right, I've marked where that hose is going to pass through the original gasket. The instructions say to cut it all the way down to the base pan. I don't like that. And you can see I've got it at 7 inches to 7.5. It says cut 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to stick with 5/8 of an inch. And I understand, you know, if you have like a hot knife or whatever, you can cut a circle out, you know, a curve. But I'm going to do this because I'm out in the middle of nowhere with just a razor blade. I'm going to make it kind of a rough cut. And then we will backfill it with some sort of a sealant to go in there. And again, I don't really like, the instructions are kind of rough as far as the way they want you to do it. They want you to cut a whole slot out of here and then just backfill it with sealant. But I don't really like doing it that way. So I'll show you what it looks like when I've got this thing installed. Okay, here are the installed scuppers or cups or whatever they're called on the Penguin 2. Next process will be to fill this with a sealant, like a self-leveling, probably do a non-leveling, just to have a little firmer thing in there that doesn't run out onto this part while it dries. And then the next piece will be you take an additional gasket and put it on top of the existing gasket. So now this thing's going to sit up a little bit taller. So we also have foam pads that go back here to now support this thing, as opposed to, used to be supported by these corner pieces. And now it'll have a single piece across the back. So I'm going to go get some sealant, seal this up, and we'll put the other gasket on. All right, here is the non-leveling, non-sag lap sealant from Dicor. It's got the bald guy on there, so you know it's good. I like to let these things sit in my garage for a couple of years, you know, just to stabilize or whatnot. So anyway, Now we're going to pookie this thing up and put the gasket on. So this goes on here like so. This is a square. Now I'm going to get all fancy here and try to overlap these seams so you don't have a straight seam all the way through. I do it one-handed, so I'm sure I'm going to screw it up, which it looks like I'm trying to pretty good. Try to hit this corner. Okay, I'm gonna have to use. All right, and our drain pan installation is done. We've got the secondary gasket up here, and then we have this new support gasket. It's a 16 inch with a 10 inch on top. So now it's no longer going to rest on these, but it'll rest on this one. Okay, and so now when you install it, just remember that the 3/4 inch height, it says compressed down to 3/4 of an inch or something like that. This one, that obviously won't apply now because we've got this doubler gasket on there. So anyway, let's hope that answers some questions for you guys. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else, any gotchas that I learned along the way. I can't think of anything. Oh, I did notice that they said to use these as alignment screws, but it only mentioned it in the caption. It didn't say anything in the instructions, so maybe that's what they were talking about. Use those to butt these up against. And this side is actually much closer to it than the other side, so I'm not real sure. But anyway, there you have it. Hope that helps.